Welcome, everybody. We are here at the Bitcoin Policy Summit in Washington, D.C. I'm Frank Corva, the political correspondent for Bitcoin Magazine, and I'm joined by Congressman Nick Begich from Alaska. Congressman Begich, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure is all ours. We want to dive right in here and talk a little bit about the Bitcoin Act.
Yes.
You introduced the Bitcoin Act in the House. Now, I know we're currently watching the Genius Act, just got passed through the Senate. We have the market structure bill being discussed. I was at a Senate hearing for that the other day. When does the government get around to touching on the Bitcoin Act, which you introduced?
Yes, great question. We do have to focus on market structure and stablecoin legislation. Those two things are important, and they're important that they pass together. You can't have really one without the other. But once those are done, I'm very hopeful that we can start to turn our attention to the Bitcoin Act. The Bitcoin Act, for folks who don't know, is such an important bill for the United States, for Bitcoin. What the bill does is it puts us on a pathway as a nation to acquire 1 million Bitcoin, right? Which is roughly 5% of the total amount to be produced over its entire life cycle. So this is important. The United States already has 200,000 Bitcoin roughly that have been acquired through legal seizures and other means. But we want to make sure that we get up to a reserve amount that provides us with some diversification on the National Reserve's balance sheet. And we all think of, at least those in the community think of Bitcoin as digital gold. We have about 5% of the world's gold reserves in the United States. This makes sense as we start to transition into that next century where it's truly a digital century. We need to make sure we've got that asset on our balance sheet.
Appreciate that. Just one follow-up question, if you don't mind. One of the other things in the Bitcoin Act that it does, that it will codify into law, is the right for Americans to hold their private keys, if I'm not mistaken. Can you touch a little bit on this and why you feel that that's important?
Look, I think it's absolutely important that people have control over their stores of value, right? And there shouldn't be a nation state between you and that store of value. If you've got gold, that belongs to you. If you've got Bitcoin, that belongs to you. If you have dollars, those belong to you. And I think it's really important that we codify that component as a part of this act to make sure that it's clear, that the intent of Congress is made clear. The keys belong to you, the individual holder.
And do people seem receptive to this, like the people who you're speaking with about maybe coming on as either sponsors for the act or voting in favor of it?
Absolutely. That provision is so important, and others recognize how important that is, right? I mean, if we're going to treat this as a commodity, as a store of value, which is currently classified as, it needs to be able to be disintermediated from the state and the banking system.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for your work, Congressman. Very, very much appreciated as a Bitcoiner here. And yeah, thank you. We'll be in touch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.